Welcome. Um, there will be a recording available to you guys. We're just going to go over kind of the structure for today. There will be a Q&A at the end where you can honestly ask any question about manifestation. If you want me to tune into your field, like really, I'm an open book, so anything. But that will be at the end. If you do have questions during it, please type them in the chat. I may or may not respond during it. If I don't respond during it, we can come back to it at the end just because I want to stick with the flow. So while we're waiting a couple more minutes, why don't you just drop in the chat where you guys are all from? Can connect. Welcome back to my world. Many of you who have been in my world a while. If you're new, welcome. So good to have you here, Texas. Excited to be back. Vancouver. Christina. Don't mind my voice. I'm drinking some ginger lemon honey tea because I just went through a really big needed ego death. I'm still recovering. UK, Connecticut, Alabama, Vancouver, Texas. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Hawaii. And my voice cracks is because I'm still in recovery from this ego death. That was so necessary, but very intense. Okay. So we're going to go over just kind of the agenda for today. I have a plan. Source sometimes takes me in other plans. Like this masterclass, I wrote it and then I like rewrote it. And then I had a bunch of downloads this morning and I was like, oh my goodness, okay, we're rewriting this. Here we go. But that's just it. It's the listening of the divine, which we're going to talk about today. So what's on the agenda for today is I'm going to introduce myself for those of you who don't know. For those of you who do know, amazing, you'll hear like my Coles Notes story again. Thanks for bearing with me. How I got into teaching manifestation and the healing arts, my soul journey, and why I'm qualified to teach it or to facilitate it. When people usually find me, come to me, hire me, the patterns of when this is typically happening. We're going to talk about soul manifestation, the science of manifestation, our creator fields, how we're creating everything, and how to shift the things we don't like and leverage the laws in our favor. That's still in alignment with our soul. We're going to talk about soul manifestation versus ego. Super important. This is something that not a lot of people talk about. In fact, few people know, and it goes into the healing arts and then and why healing, core healing, is important. And then I'm going to be talking about my retreat. I know a few of you are signed up. Amazing. Yay. And yeah, for the rest of you, would love to invite you to that if it feels in alignment. So we'll be talking about that. And then we'll be going into any Q&A about the retreat or about anything that's going on in your life. If you want my feedback, I'm really fucking good at reading people's fields. I've trained for this for years and years and years in many modalities. I've created my own modality. So yeah, with your consent, I can tap into your field, or if you can share, sometimes I just know what's going on just from the energetics. So that will be the flow today. You will get the recording. I don't know how long it will be available for, but it'll at least be available the next few weeks. It might be available forever. I haven't actually decided that. Christina, it's so good to see your face pop on. Okay, so, and like I said, if you have questions during it, just write them in the chat. And then if it's appropriate in the time, I'll answer it if it's going to go with the flow. If not, we'll come back. But if you don't want to like forget it, like I have like ADHD, neurodivergent or whatever they call it. It's a gift. It's everything you guys all have. All the things, this is important. All the things they told you you were not good enough or something was wrong with you, that was a gift your soul chose for your soul mission today. We'll touch on this as well. I just want you to know that. All the things that are like, oh, they're setbacks. No, they're not. Your soul chose them for a reason. Just like my soul chose this for a reason because it serves me in what I do. It doesn't necessarily serve me in other things. Same thing with like dyslexia. Okay, so here we go. So I'm Jill. Some of you guys, yeah. So I'm Jill, Alana. I don't really know what to like label myself as. I don't like labels. I do shamanic healing. I teach manifestation. I teach the energetics of abundance. I do channeling, meaning I can read people's creator fields, their EMF fields, and also talk to their higher self, source, etc. I'm very trained in, due to many initiations, discernment in the healing arts, which is really important. Some of you guys know my journey on that. Some of you guys were in it in different parts. So yeah, my soul chose those initiations for a very specific reason. So you can be assured we're only going to be using like when I tune into your field or anything, we're not going to do an activation today. I'll do a little intention set and prayer at the beginning. All my courses basically have activations. My retreat has activations. They're super powerful. And if you want a free one, I have a free abundance activation as well as a free healing activation and throat chakra. Can't even speak as I say that, throat chakra activation on my podcast. Alberta, yes. Tally, I'll be in Alberta for about a month. Don't know where you are. Yeah. Okay, so let's just ground for a minute. I'm sure we've all had really busy days, as I have. So let's just feel your seat bones beneath you, sinking deeper and deeper into your chair or bed or couch or whatever is beneath you. Feeling a red laser beam shooting out the bottom of your tailbone, connecting you to the crystalline chromosome of the earth. Then you'll feel a golden waterfall 300 feet above your head, coming down, down, down from your crown, the top of your head, to your throat, heart, upper abdomen, lower abdomen, all the way to the bottoms of your feet. And a pink light from the earth coming out from your feet to your knees, hips, all the way to your heart, top of your head, creating this pillar of light of truth. And now expanding this pillar of light and truth out, out, out to the corners of your room and to the corners of your city, out, 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 or island. And then out, out, out into the cosmos, pulling each of your creator fields and auric fields into a safe distance within this, invoking the 4-layer grid right here, right now. Banishing, banishing, banishing anything that's not ours and not of the highest, any distortion, any trickery, anything that we would perceive would have ill intent towards anybody or anything in this vortex. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Inviting the beings of light of the highest frequency. Asking any ancestors to please leave for this transmission. We love you. Thank you. Just feeling the energy of your heart expanding out, out, out. Invoking a golden pink dome around this vortex, around this group. Beautiful. And so does. And come back to your body. Yes, I am recording this, babe. It's recording. Thank you. Love you. Okay, so like I said, I'm Jill. I got pushed into my spiritual awakening about 6 years ago. I got gifted a meditation retreat, which changed my life. My third eye got blasted wide open. I no longer go to these specific retreats. I've been to 10 of them. Some of you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to out this person, but there's a very specific reason. Anyways, at that retreat, my third eye, I was like seeing all the things in the quantums, including demons, which are not to be afraid of, but also like we don't work with those. So fast forward, I got introduced to my first healer who became a mentor in Cyprus. Started working with her, didn't know what a healer was, ended up studying Reiki level 1 and 2. And then she was doing a training and retreat there. And I'm like, I need to be there. It was the beginning of COVID. No one was traveling. Somehow I manifested the money after I made the choice. The story is somewhere on my podcast. Within 48 hours, I manifested the money from an acting check a year and a half prior, or like a year prior or something. I think it was a year and a half. And that was not a coincidence. After I made the choice, divine law, when something's for our soul growth, after we make the choice, the resources are always available to us. after we make the choice. We don't need to know the how, we just need to make the choice. Some of you here have had embodied experience with this. So, and miracles. So, yeah, somehow I got through London. It was like shut down, and I studied there. This woman is still one of my mentors to this day. She worked with a family member to help them heal from cancer. And I really started getting passionate about the healing arts. And I came back, started like manifesting a lot, because I was healing and manifesting are correlated, so correlated, which we're going to talk a little bit about more later. And I started seeing this correlation and just literally becoming obsessed with this work. Like, I studied Reiki as a kid and forgot about it, and just dove right in, and finished my Reiki certifications, ended up, had a whole another initiation, picked up, left Canada with my dog. Like, after I started my Reiki practice, intuition was like, get out. Then the whole world shut down. Thank God I got out, and I traveled the world, not knowing where resources were coming from. Literally manifested clients around the world, ended up at this retreat with this guy named Gerard Adams and Adam Roa, and don't know how I got to the retreat, because it was for high level mastermind, which I was not in and could definitely not afford at that time. Somehow manifested it, had seen it in a vision, and I met my shamanic teacher there, studied with her in Sedona. And I was really looking for somebody to help me do energy protection, which she taught, and nobody else at the time I knew taught. Now I've developed a whole other level of discernment with this and mastery in this with a few other people after the fact. It's 5 years ago. She was amazing for where I was. Came back to Vancouver, started getting known for shamanic breathwork, and then I had a lot of entrepreneurs at that. So these are like 7, 8-figure entrepreneurs at that mastermind. I would tell them stories, and they're like, can you teach us? Like, do you have a course on this? And I was like, no. So I channeled a course, like the blueprint for it, at that retreat. It was not time to launch it. I had not tested nor proved these results one-on-one yet. It's just, I was doing it. Key embodiment. But I didn't know how to teach it. I didn't know how to facilitate it. So I was like, okay, so channel the modules, whatever. And then I started working with clients with Reiki and shamanic breath work, and like clearing the trauma with shamanic breath work, and then using Reiki and the vortex and hypnosis, which is another thing I've trained in, 2 hypnosis modalities, to anchor and link their manifestation, their desired manifestation, to in that Reiki vortex, essentially, which is very high frequency. And then miracles started happening. I'm going to share some of them later. People would get huge promotions, or they would like manifest a partner, or they would get like a crazy investor for their business. Just like so many stories. You can check out my Instagram, Jill Alana Testimonials, if you want to look at them, or my YouTube, the testimonial videos on there. So then it still wasn't time. I cracked the codes of abundance, which was literally crazy, because I was the stingiest person ever, living off rice and beans. Got very, very sick, ended up in the hospital. Obviously, because I wasn't nourishing myself, because I literally felt like I couldn't afford anything. Of course, I created that reality. And so, because that was my belief. So anyways, after I cracked those codes, I started a program, Money Miracle Mindset, which was my first money program, and then Surrendering into Abundance, the first round. Miracles started happening in abundance, and then that was the first group program. And then I launched Decoding Manifestation, which is like my signature manifestation course. And then again, every single person in that course had miracles. But by that point, I had proven it with so many one-on-one clients. And so I knew how to do it to myself. I knew how to manifest myself. And then I started to figure out how to manifest with clients. Now I am in a whole new level of iteration of me, because I am a like master manifester, and my soul journey came in. So now what I'm really passionate about is soul manifestation, because I started seeing people come to me who were like, who had a lot of wealth, who had the partner, who had this and that and the boat and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, why the fuck am I not happy? And so what I came to realize on these patterns, and I've had my own experience with this as well, is that, oh, we can manifest things on a from our ego, which, yeah, we're not going to talk about that today. So we can manifest things with our ego and our will. But if our soul hasn't chosen that, no matter what we get, we're not going to be happy. And so what I started doing was implementing the trauma healing to help heal those wounds of the things that they thought would make them happy because mom did this, dad did this, whatever happened from 0 to 7, that's when everything gets programmed. And then heal those wounds and create fulfillment. Now, whether you're like, I still want that thing, that's fine. You can still have that thing. But when you do the core healing, firstly, a bunch of the shit you thought you wanted, you don't want anymore. Like I was an actor before. I did actually use the manifestation tools for that because my career was not going very well. And then all of a sudden I was like booking this and that. And I literally kid you not, this is one example. When I quit acting that day, I'm like, I'm taking a break. I had had my Reiki practice. And then I got tested. I won an acting competition over like hundreds of people. And I was like, no, I'm going to honor what I said. Then a couple months later, I literally had producers calling me, didn't even have an agent anymore, had producers calling me for like lead roles. Okay. So, and I beat out 5,000 people for a commercial, which is how I paid for that trip to Cyprus and that healing stuff. So what I'm saying is the more you want it, the more the wound is driving you, the harder it is to get it. But when you heal the trauma, it's just like you can have the thing or not want the thing. Sometimes you still want it and sometimes you don't. Doesn't matter. It's still cherry on top. And your highest timeline of abundance, of soul fulfillment, of partnership, of friendships is always in soul alignment. So those things your soul really wants, that's what I'm interested in. That can be material, okay? To make a difference on this planet, we need material, like we need money, we need resources. This is a distortion in spiritual community, and I'm so sick of it. Seeing healers weak, seeing healers unresourced, been there, not the vibe, okay? So, but I want you guys to get that no matter what ego thing is drawing you, and we're going to talk more about this after, or a little bit later, but what ego thing, the wound it's drawing you to, like, say you're like, I want $1 million or I want like a 50K month. It's like, okay, when you get that, and I've had more than that. So I can say this from embodied experience. It does not give you that fulfillment that you think it's going to give you. It actually just amplifies all the trauma. So when you can transmute the trauma and then get the 50K month or the 100K month or the boat or the whatever the fuck, flying first class, like vibes, but it has to come from a place of already being fulfilled. It's the same thing in relationship. The more you're like, I need that relationship, the person's like, I'm not going to choose you anymore. Like repel energy. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this in the science, but that's why I've worked with people who are just starting businesses all the way to like 8-figure entrepreneurs. I've seen it all. The patterns are all the same when we understand the energetics and when we understand how to manifest, when we understand the soul journey. That's a whole other level that's very few people are talking about. And that's what I'm interested in, because that's what's going to shift the world. You guys are all high frequency beings, whether you're here live or watching the replay. Otherwise, you would not be called to my world, my work at all. I can promise you that. So, yeah. So when do people usually come to me? So people usually come to me for 2 main things into my world. Now 3. We're not going to talk about the third one very much because it's not the call for that, but I'll just note it. So firstly, it's like, I've tried all the manifestation. I read the books. I'm doing the ritual, blah, blah, blah. I'm doing the prayer. I'm doing the meditation and nothing's fucking working. Nothing's working. Why is this? I'm going to explain the science shortly. But firstly, this is because firstly, you're listening to people who read a fucking book, don't know what they're talking about, don't have proven strategies, haven't gone through the initiations, or you're listening to people who have, but they're not taking in the soul journey. They're not understanding the initiations. Sometimes people get success because their soul chose that success in order to learn a lesson later on. It's a big pendulum swing. So, and then this is the biggest key. And when I launched Decoding Manifestation, this literally was the fucking key. the trauma healing, shamanic breath work. I use many modalities. That's my number one, especially the in-person ceremonies. Some of you have experienced them. They're fucking life-changing. Number two is that and this happened, this is why I didn't launch my courses, or like the manifestation course, I guess, until I knew, because I wanted to make sure I know I can manifest. Like, I'm really fucking good at it. In fact, it's a blessing and a curse, because, yeah, I'll say this right now. What I've come to realize with where I am now is I'm listening to my soul and source more, and my higher self, more than my human self. We're still pleasing the human self, but there's a trap when you get really good at manifesting, that these allures, dark forces, come in and they're like, oh, I want that thing. Oh, and you can manifest it, but it's not necessarily for your highest timeline, for your highest path. And so before I'm like, oh, do I want that thing, or there's an opportunity or whatever, I always double check and vet it with my intuition. Again, another conversation, another time. But the biggest key before I could launch that course was I needed to bridge like the energy, the frequency with the unconscious mind. Okay, this is the intention, and literally biologically, energetically help these people shift their EMF field, also known as their creator field, which creates all events, all people, circumstances in your entire life. These are where the patterns are held, and I'll explain about the patterns after I show you the science. I'll explain examples. So the activations and the trauma healing combined with the transmissions of how manifestation works, integrating boundaries, not just like boundaries I say, but I feel in the field, or like honoring yourself energetically, coding that into your body. That's the difference. You can know all the things. That doesn't mean embodiment. And until you're embodied, until you're at that frequency, which means the thoughts, actions, behaviors are who you're being, it doesn't matter how much you know about manifestation. It doesn't matter how much you read in a fucking book. You have to be the match to it. And that means for higher, especially for higher conscious beings, which you all are, it's not better or worse. It's not better or worse at all. Don't like be like, oh, I'm a high conscious being. Like, fuck that shit. You're not better. We're not better. Like, it's just, we can see the world from a different lens that, people who are super programmed cannot, because they haven't had as many lifetimes. That's all it means. But especially for like on that path of soul evolution, you have to go through the initiations. They are what carve you into the person that is a match. You can't bypass this shit. Trust me, I've tried. I just went through a huge initiation, like I said, an ego death, and there was things I wanted to run from, and like, thank God I'm like surrounded by a fucking awesome teacher, coach, and mentor who all like hold me accountable and are like, no bullshit. But you can't bypass that. And so for those of you, I mean, even the ones who have known me for a while, you'll probably feel a difference in my energy now, even over the last like month, because of these initiations. Yeah, it's all good. Camera's off. That's all good. You do you, hun. You guys, I love when your cameras are on, but if they have to be off, I totally understand. I get it. Like, I totally get it. Okay, so people usually come to me when they've done all the things. They bought all the fucking courses. They have read all the books. They're doing all this, and they're like, nothing's working. There's a podcast episode. I'll actually link it in the email. Let me remind myself to do that. With a woman, Alyssa. She was in my first round of decoding manifestation. And there should be like a pitch for decoding manifestation. It's not. We're going to share about the retreat later, but I don't know. We will sometime relaunch that. And I'm recording all the activations again live. It's going to be different. So if y'all are already in that, well, you're welcome. All of my stuff is lifetime access, so they get everything added. at the price point they paid at. So anyways, beside the point. Like Alyssa, she's like, I've done all the courses. I've invested like $100,000 in myself, in this mentor, and this, and nothing worked. And I'm like, I get it. Like, I get it. Trust me. I've seen what's out there. I have seen what's out there. Discernment is key. There's some amazing, amazing coaches. There's amazing mentors. And there's some who decided they wanted to be a mentor all of a sudden because it was the thing to do, not the soul path. So discernment is fucking key. Anyways, I'm like, I get it. We talked. I'm like, this is why my course is different. It's not even a course. It's a portal. And she literally she couldn't like get pregnant before. And then now she's a mom. She completely shifted her entire business to like an OBM business from what she was doing before, because that wasn't in soul alignment. And it was just like thing after thing after thing. Somebody else, she literally almost went blind and she healed her eye in my course. That was part of my story too. I almost went blind. Things on YouTube. Although I don't recommend those retreats with what I know now. They're great in some ways, but there's a catch. So anyways, like I said, there's a reason I don't go to them anymore. But if you want to hear that story, it's pretty powerful. It's on YouTube. So, yeah. And like literally so many miracles. Daniela, like, I mean, she was in my abundance course. That woman has manifested so much. She manifested like 220K in like a couple of days. And then like just things, every time I talk to her, it's like another thing. And I'm like, holy shit. Anyways, many, many stories. So that's when people come to me when they're like, everything else I've tried and nothing's working. And I get it. And this is why, because the people teaching didn't have embodiment, or they didn't understand exactly what they did, or maybe they did and they didn't know how to facilitate it, meaning that's when I developed activations. Nobody taught me how to do activations. I developed that modality, as I did with a number of other ones, after studying 13 other modalities and integrating pieces and then trusting my intuition. And everyone has the ability to develop their own, because you all have your own unique gifts that I don't have, that somebody else doesn't have. I want you guys to know that you're all unique. You're all special in your own way. This is why there is no competition. There is only you owning and mastering and honing your gifts. That's going to help a lot of people. Okay. So, and then I also get a lot of like very successful entrepreneurs or sometimes wives of entrepreneurs, like whatever, who are like, I'm lacking fulfillment in my life. And that's like the soul work. So I mix the soul work into everything. Yeah, man, we've literally like somebody like manifest again in the NHL. Again, what was stopping him was trauma from one of his parents. And we cleared that. And soulmate relationships, going like 200K weeks. So just like crazy shit. So anyways, this works at all levels. If you're like, I just want to make like $1,000 a month in my business, amazing. It works at all levels. I started like literally not being able to feed myself. Okay. So, and it doesn't really matter what you're doing, by the way. If we're like talking about money manifestation, what you're doing doesn't matter. It's the codes you're holding. It doesn't matter if you don't even work. It's the codes you're holding. You can manifest through your partner. Actually, Alyssa manifested a huge raise through her partner, like the second week of decoding or something. If you guys end up doing that when I do relaunch, which is like coming through sometime next year, then yeah, you'll hear all of these as well, like on the calls, because they're all recorded. Okay, so I'm curious, who feels stuck in manifestation? They're like, it's not working. Or you're like, okay, I got manifestation, but I'm at a cap. Like every time I reach a cap, I like come back down. Something sabotaging me, or like this level of income or this level of vitality. That was a huge thing for me for so long. I'd like feel really good. And then I'd be like so drained. And then I would like feel good for a day and I'd be like so drained. Or I would feel good for a week and then I would like facilitate a breath work and then I'd be like so drained. That's not the case anymore. I mean, I facilitated pretty much, I did breath work on Sunday, private clients on Monday, Tuesday podcast, and training with my coach and a bunch of like admin stuff. Wednesday, I've had a full day already today, had training with my other coach, had client call this morning, and I'm here. And I I have this vital energy, but this was not always the case. I feel stuck in calling in abundance, and now I feel tired and don't feel motivated to manifest. Okay, cool. I'm working on holding girl on the vision of my manifestations. Awesome. Yeah, type where you guys feel stuck. We're going to come back to it after I explain the science, but I want to know so I can skew this to specifically to you guys. Elle, I'm curious, exactly where do you feel stuck in manifesting abundance? Is it that you feel like you don't actually desire it because you're like, my health doesn't feel good, I'm tired, so I don't even care about money? Or is it like, I'm trying and I'm doing the things and I don't feel motivated because I've been doing all the things and it's just, you feel like it's not working or something? And what things have you been doing? And anyone else? Trying to keep, okay. Just tired, losing energy. Okay. So awareness around abundance, seeing it in my reality. Also, okay. I'm going to answer one thing right now. So I'm trying to get touch on one thing. I'm trying to keep getting sidetracked and now I'm confused. Okay. So the closer we are to our breakthrough, the more we're going to get pulled off track. The more things are going to try and pull us off track. These are called frequency fences. There are lures. Firstly, it'll start with like, I can't concentrate. And then it'll be like, oh, you're not responding to that. Then we're going to have put this like disaster situation that you have to deal with and keep pulling you apart until you decide to focus. The moment you decide to focus, all the other stuff is going to stop. It's a universal law. Also, like DFs that can come in and like allure you. Pay attention to these. Pay attention. When I came so close to like such a big epiphany and breakthrough and shift specifically in my vitality and my energy levels, and seen massive deception in some areas, things, the energy healing world, I literally got invited to like the craziest shit, guys. It was like, oh, here, like, come on this thing. It's like 10 grand, but like you can have it for free, or like come on this boat and like this yacht party, or like come on this private jet. And I'm like, hey, cool. Like been there, done all those things. And I know this is allures. I'm more wise now. I'm not saying it always is, but in these specific circumstances. So that is probably your unconscious or your ego trying to like keep you safe, or it's other energetic things that are trying to keep you from your soul path, soul pull. I get it. I get it. Abundance to work in embodiment of my codes. Old patterns try and keep me stuck. I see. Okay. So you see it. Do you know the pattern? Diana, hold that thought. We're going to come back to this because I might use you for an example if you want. We can work through whatever that is. Okay. So, okay. Glad you all resonate. So until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and it will control your fate. Okay. So the shadow. Also, the patterns in our life. So when I, for example, was like really in scarcity, I had all these patterns. Oh, one pattern, oh, I need to buy the cheapest thing. I always need to buy the cheapest thing. What am I doing when I do that? I'm literally acting as that version of me in scarcity. I'm acting as the version of me that's like, oh, universe, I'm not worthy. I'm not going to get the organic apple, or I'm going to buy the cheaper peanut butter with all the garbage in it so that I feel like shit. I don't value me. Nobody's going to value me. The moment I start valuing me, other people are going to start valuing me. Same thing for a relationship. When we put other people in the relationship, everyone in a romantic relationship should always put themselves first, not excluding the other person. When you enter union, it's always like the we energy. But the moment you're like, oh, I'm just going to put you first and not care about me, that person's going to be like, I don't fucking care about you. I have wandering eyes. Actually, I don't want to date you anymore. Actually, I want a divorce. This might be triggering to some people. These are very real patterns. Okay. So these are called energetic ingredient, something stopping me and distracting me. I can see it, but before you know it, the time has gone in that day. Okay, yes, I do know this. Okay, so we're going to talk about all of this. I'm firstly going to show you some science. So when we're not aware of these patterns, they control us. They're controlling our life. Say, I'm like, you know what? I have $10 in my bank account, and I am actually going to invest in those organic bananas. I'm looking at bananas. And I'm also going to invest in the organic peanut butter. And oh my God, this is so scary. You're literally signaling to the universe, oh, she values herself. I remember like not too long ago, I booked a premium economy ticket, and then I was like, fuck it. It's a like overnight, and it literally, they didn't have business available. And somehow I manifested business available like a couple weeks before. And then when it was available, I was like, is this even like worth it? And I'm like, Jill, if you're not valuing you, I had clients the next day, then nobody is going to value you. And I was like, oh, how is this in the highest good for everyone? Well, obviously it is, because I needed some sleep. And so I did that. And then I had like 2 unexpected sales for something I wasn't even fucking selling, like off my website. This stuff happens all the time. I'm not saying like be like stupid with your investments, be intentional. I knew how that was valuing me. I knew how that was going to be my highest, the other people's highest. And so sometimes it's like, oh, okay, like food's a very common one where I see people like buying cheap shit, thinking that they're saving money. And I'm like, you're literally just signaling to the universe that you're not worth healthier food. Plus you're making yourself sick. Eating well is like a high value thing. The more we value us, the more other people value us, including clients, including people who want to, if there's some people are like, I can't sell this and this and this. And then it's like, but they're not investing anything in themselves. I'm not even just talking about money, guys. Money is part of it for sure. But I'm talking about like, are you taking time for yourself? Are you exercising? Are you taking care of your body? Are you valuing you? Mind, body, soul. If you're not, then nobody else is going to value you. And it's going to be a mirror in your reality. Everything's a mirror. Okay. So we're going to talk about distractions. Sorry. I don't know. I just apologize. Hot damn. I could talk about this stuff forever. See, I get very just like passionate. And then also like half of this stuff was like not even what I had planned. Hang on. Once you get this one going, you never know if she's going to stop. Okay. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So we're literally a magnet. Okay. When people are like, become a magnet to money, become a magnet to men, become a magnet to whatever, we're literal magnets. This isn't like a woo thing. We are literal magnets. We have an electromagnetic field. This is called the EMF field, electromagnetic field, which I'm going to explain and break down for you, and then give you some tools to shift it. Okay, so electric is going out. What we send out through our pineal gland, electric. Our thoughts are electric. They have an electrical charge. Oh, I don't know how to do this. I'm bad. Oh my God, I'm bad at computers. So that became my reality. It was a $30,000 lesson. Oh shit, I'm really good at computers. I'm fucking badass at these backend systems. Like, I just downloaded some fucking device my business coach told me to download, and I'm like, I'm fucking good at this shit. Your thoughts create your reality, but below that, your beliefs, which are carried in the body, are what trigger the thoughts. I'm going to share how to shift that in a way that lasts, that isn't just using the conscious mind or isn't just rewiring, because that shit can be powerful, but it usually only lasts a year unless it's shifted in the unconscious mind, aka the body. When it's shifted in the body, it lasts forever because it's the magnet. Okay, so electric out, magnetic is the torrential field in. Okay, so we're literal magnets. We're either repelling or attracting our desires. We're repelling or we're attracting. You cannot do both in one moment in time. The magnet cannot do both. It's either repelling or it's attracting. We want to leverage this in our favor to attract the things in our life that we desire and repel the things we don't desire. This also requires some action to anchor it into the EMF fields. Okay, so give me 1 second. I'm now going to show you. So we change the beliefs in the body, our magnet, we change our reality. And we change what we're projecting from the body and the neural pathways, again, in our EMF, electromagnetic field. I'm going to call it creator field because it's just simpler and it's what creates our reality. When we change them in our brain, it only lasts a maximum of a year when it's just in the brain, usually about a month. And if we shift it in the body, it lasts forever, as I said, okay? Because we're literally shifting on a cellular level. People can fake creator fields. They can fake creator fields. They can program thoughts, but then who the fuck has time to program thoughts every single day for the rest of their life? I'm confident, I'm confident, I'm confident, I'm confident, I'm confident. Or even going unconscious, I'm confident. But if there's a trauma lodged in the body, that's like, hello, sorry, I'm gonna swear, I apologize. Bitch, like you have this memory that's stuck in this trauma of you being not confident because of something that happened at 4 years old. Then that is what the magnet's holding. And so you're like fighting, just trying to like change the thoughts. And then the body's like, yo. And then the soul is like, hello. And then the soul starts to create these circumstances that are bigger and bigger and bigger. The patterns get bigger and bigger and bigger because the soul lesson gets bigger and bigger and bigger to get you to listen until you get cancer or until you get a tumor or until you get a whatever the thing is. Health is the last thing that goes. Firstly, it'll be either money or relationship, whichever you care about more. If you care about money more, it'll be money for money for you first. If you care about relationships, friendship, romantic, whatever, it'll be that first. And then eventually goes to the body because the body's the only thing you can't ignore. You can ignore money to an extent. You can ignore relationships to an extent. You can't ignore health, especially when it's terminal. Sorry if I'm triggering anyone. It's just the truth. Don't shoot the messenger, man. Okay. So here we go. Some of you have seen this before. I'm going to explain it in a different way. And I know this is like, well, I think it's interesting, but I'm like a science nerd. But yeah. Okay, so the sound's not working, but we don't need the sound. I'm just going to ask a question first. If we had a magnet or a platter that you put a vibrational frequency on and there was sand on it, and you put the frequency on and you splayed the sand and it made a pattern, right? If you move the sand again, turn it off, move the sand again, and then put the same vibration on, would it make the same pattern or a different pattern? Type it in the chat. Many of you, I don't know where the chat is. Oh, I can't see the chat. Here we go. Same frequency, same pattern. Yes, different. Same. Danielle, same. It's the same because that's the frequency. Same thing if you had a magnet and you put like shards of metal on it and it went into a pattern. If like say a magnet and then there's paper and then shards and then goes into that pattern like the snowflake. And then you take that off and you do another paper, same magnet. We're literal magnets. We're carrying this in our body. Then the shards, and then it makes that pattern, right? Same pattern until you shift the frequency, which is the pattern. This is what you're doing in your life. Everything is patterns. Everything is patterns. When you start to understand these patterns, you can identify them. Oh my goodness. I love this freaking scrunchie so much. Oh, sorry. That was a DM. Oh, and thank you for your comment. Okay, let's watch this really quick. Visual representation. What the fuck? This is not what I had shared. Hang on. Saved. What is my tech doing to me? It's forcing me to be better. It's like manipulation patterns. Once you see the manipulation pattern, you're like, oh, I see this. I've seen this before. Or patterns of abuse. Same thing. I'm like obsessed with studying this right now. DFs, work through narcissistic patterns, FYI. Oh, you guys can't see this. Okay. So, fuck. Jill's getting good at tech, okay? So just bear with me. Here we go. Okay, the frequency's on. They put a sound pitch. It goes to that pattern, right? These are hertz. This is measurable science. They put on a specific hertz, more sand. It's going to the same pattern. It's going to the same pattern. Beautiful. Do we get it? Yeah. Okay. You guys are fast learners. So stop sharing. So, so high in tech always breaks. Yo, this is a thing. Okay. So when I really uncovered some stuff, we'll just put it that way. Some of you know what I'm talking about. It was literally like I would be having a conversation with my teacher or like my mentor, and like the Evo wouldn't work, or my phone would just shut off, or I have a friend she'll tune in and check things for me and I'll do the same. We've trained together for a long time. It's like our phones, they would just shut off. And I was connecting dots about a situation like months and months ago, which more and more and more came part of my soul journey, which I don't know what I signed up for before I came to this planet, but let me tell you. And tech kept breaking. And I'm like, oh my goodness. It's actually a thing. It's called interference. Defense against the dark arts class. If you guys want to learn all about that and how to protect against things that are siphoning your energy. Okay. Or if you've had any narcissists in your life, it's DFs working through them. Just FYI, it's not their fault. But it's their fault that they didn't do the healing. Nobody's fault. No one's to blame here. Okay, we're getting off topic. Okay, so these are the patterns. These are the same patterns that I've helped clients, students shift. The distortion, we're master manifestors when we come on this earth. We are in the frequency of love. When we go into shame, guilt, fear, the distortion that is causing that is what needs to be alchemized. Okay. So some real life examples of things I've helped people with. So this isn't like woo or fluff or whatever. So you guys can see it. It's like clients don't choose me. I have an online business, or don't have an online business, have a business. Clients don't choose me. 2, an influx of clients. Literally happened like not too long ago to one of my clients. She literally got like 5 new clients in like a couple days after the shifts. Sometimes it takes a couple weeks. We have to recode the creator field. Okay. That's a pattern. When we don't choose us, nobody fucking chooses us. And you can't fake frequency. You can't fake patterns. Unfortunately, you can't just be like, I choose me. There's actual, you have to shift it in the magnet, in the body. This is why there's those people that like everybody chooses, or that turn heads when you walk in somewhere, which is also anyways, a lot of fear around that. I don't want to like turn heads or whatever, but when you actually expand your auric field, you will. And so that fear is very common. That's what we deal with in Reiki 3, FYI, for those of you who are in it. Those of you here. Okay, so one that I did, and I've also worked with an actor, I'm not gonna say her name, but is getting in the final stages and then sabotaging. I did this for a lot of roles until I'm like, I don't fucking care. And then all of a sudden they started chasing me. Like any big role that I ever booked, I'm like, oh, like I just didn't care. But this one actor or actress I worked with, she was like sabotaging and sabotaging and sabotaging. And it was actually something with her mom. And we went back and did healing on that. And she wanted breath work on that, healed the core wounds, shifted her EMF field. I also gave her some tools. Voila. About a month later, she booked a huge fucking role in a feature film. It was like in France or something too. My partner always cheats on me. 2, my partner is so devoted to me and has eyes for nobody else. Energetic ingredients. Have to heal the core trauma first. And then, which can be painful, but if we don't heal it, the same lesson comes around over and over and over again. And then we learn the key code and we're like, oh, I got to choose me, but we can't choose us if there's trauma under it. Does this make sense? Because the trauma will be running the show. The unconscious patterns are running the show. So men chase me, then leave me, to men courting, big difference, and then claiming me fully. Again, same thing. Same thing for women. Usually the men are the ones chasing, but I don't know. I worked with a man and it was basically the energy of like, it was like a lot of manipulation on the woman's part, but he didn't feel like he felt unworthy, which is like the masculine's deepest wound. But he was in fawn response. So he wasn't choosing himself. He wasn't valuing himself. So his partner wasn't valuing him and was treating him like shit. Shifted that, all of a sudden, she's like head over heels. Making a lot of money is a pattern, but then it falls through like sand to making a lot of money, then amplifying it, compounding it, continues to grow. That's true wealth. True wealth isn't just abundance. True wealth is learning how to compound and amplify that. To receive the key codes, you have to release the traumas. No. The key codes, well, yes, to embody the key codes, you have to release the traumas. To receive the key codes can be verbally. So my favorite thing, especially with like some like things that I've implemented specifically over the last 8 months, are heal the core wounds, seal that, and then have other tools that amplify the EMF field and code it. But if it has holes fucking everywhere, it's really hard to code. And that's where people are falling through. Being in scarcity to being in overflow, shifting frequency. So we have to shift the frequency, the pattern first. There is no way around this. And the traumas are the biggest portal to transmute that and to shift it. If you know how to do that, like how to facilitate that. My favorite, again, is shamanic breath work. And then mixed with activations and these ingredients now. If we don't, and then there's action often that has to be taken after. So that can mean like, but it's easy to take that action. I'm going to give you a real life example. Like for so long, I had a deep, deep wound that I ignored for many years of not being fully chosen because of something that happened literally in utero. And so I didn't even know this memory existed until I went back to it. And I'm like, oh my God. So I was aware of the memory. For those of you, I don't do plant medicine, very specific reasons anymore. I did it for a little bit, meaning like part of a year, and just a lot of reasons I don't do it anymore. Infiltration, all the things. The medicine doesn't heal the wound. It gives you the insight of what what's causing the pattern. Then your job is to go heal it. So shamanic breath work and like embodiment work and like these things we'll talk about at the end, these are the real things to heal those, not just to get the insight. Insight's fucking great. Hey, babe, insight's great, but that doesn't heal them. Once you've healed it, it's easier to be like, oh, so I'm actually choosing me. It's really hard to do that when you're like, I have this big gaping wound and I need this person to choose me because I need to feel chosen. And even if they did, which they won't fully choose you because they can't, because of the energetic spiritual laws, if we're not choosing us, nobody can fully choose us. Even if they did, it wouldn't make it feel better. Just like even if you made $1 billion, it doesn't make the wound of I'm not good enough, I need to prove my worth better. It amplifies it. So healing the wounds and shifting the magnet is so fucking important. And then everything else after that, honestly, is super easy, especially with activation. So, okay. So I see people. Oh, so some people are like doing all the actions. They're like, I'm doing all the things for the business or sales or whatever. I wrote down an example of when I was working in restaurants and there's no results. This is because, or they're working so hard. That was me before understanding these. So many fucking jobs at a time. It was ridiculous. Like I literally detailed cars at 5 a.m. before going to my serving job and then my other serving job. And then sometimes working on set, like that was the pattern. I need to work harder than anybody else. Why the fuck was I making no money? Like barely enough to get by, because my pattern was that belief. So I had to prove it correctly. So some people are running these patterns unconsciously. They're controlling their life. I'm having all the discovery calls. I'm doing this. I'm just talking about online business. I don't even fucking do discovery calls. Like, I'm like, okay, this is a pattern. Or my business partner, like always, any business partner always screws me over. Pattern. That's a pattern with not trusting yourself and lack of discernment. So it's not about the action. We have to take action, but the action is easier to take once you've shifted the magnet. And the action after you've shifted the magnet is what creates the results. And the thoughts are written by our beliefs, which are carried in the body. So like when I got top sales at my serving job, this is when I was first learning this, I was like, dang, I kept being like catching myself. And I was like, oh, I'm thinking I can't win. I'm like, yes, I can win. Yes, I can. And I start shifting and acting in alignment with that version of me. And then like I did. It's mid here, have to go to bed. You're very welcome. You'll get the replay. Okay. So aligned action for anything we want to create is key. This is guided by the intuition and the soul guidance. It's really hard to tap into intuition when there's a lot of trauma lodged in the body. I do not recommend listening fully to the body when there's so much trauma. There's other intuitive pathways, because when we have a bad relationship with our body, it's foggy. And so there's other pathways to intuition, but that is like where you start to create your soul vision, following the aligned action. So if you want to strip away the programming and brainwashing as well, that is what connects us to soul manifestation instead of ego. This is what we're doing at my retreat. So it is structured in a way that is like soul sovereignty, coming back to you, calling the soul fragments back, clean, clear, and charged, getting rid of the programming, the brainwashing that says, when I get that promotion, then I'll be worthy, because that is a dead end cycle. And ironically, when you don't need that to prove your worth is when you get it. When you don't need that relationship to feel whole is when you get it. When you don't need is when the manifestation happens. So really clearing all the shit that's like, oh, my brain is saying like, I need this, it's going to make me feel worthy. It is not. Trust me, I've worked with so many people that thought that, and then they're like, what the fuck, I'm disconnected from my soul. And I've even had my own experience of it. I mean, like, man, it's like pretty cool when you have like great manifestations, but it's cherry on top energy. It never can cover up that wound, whether it's traveling like all year long. That's basically what I did last year, or it's like a big, huge month, or it's like partnership. Nothing will cover up the wound. It will only amplify it. I promise you that. So healing that shit and then seeing, what does my soul actually want? It's way easier to manifest what our soul has planned for us. That, I'm not going to go into that. What our soul actually desires, it is so much easier to manifest. But there's no way you can do that when there's gunks of trauma just stuck in your body. So, and yeah, like the shamanic breath work and the activations are literally what integrate and encode this in the body. Everything is just a projection, a pattern of our EMF field, our creator field, the magnet that we are. We can't fake frequency. We can't fake what's made in our EMF. This is why somebody who's made like $1 million month with like this copy, and you like write the same copy, people copy me all the time. And then they block me, and people tell me whatever. I'm like, thank you, compliment, whatever. Because I know it doesn't matter, because I mean, sometimes it's a little bit like, seriously, but people try and copy my activations and it doesn't work, because it's the frequency that I hold. It's the frequency and energies that I bring into the vortex, energies I've worked with for years, created a relationship with. You can't fake this. So if you post something that's like the $20,000 day copy, it doesn't matter, because your magnet is still projecting what it is. That person who posted it, it wasn't the copy. It was the energetic signature that that copy had. Is this making sense? Yeah, okay. Oh, Tally. Okay. So an example of this is there was somebody, this happened more than once, but I was reading a landing page and somebody's like, this is like valued at 20K, but it's only like $200. And like, I've read things like this before, and I'm like, yeah, I can feel that. It does feel like that value. But immediately when I read this, and I mean, I read energy for a living, so like, but people feel it. They just can't explain it. I can explain it. I can see it. I know what's going on, because I literally do this for a living. I train on this every day. I'm like, she doesn't believe this. So nobody's going to believe it. So people aren't going to sign up, because there's a mismatch. It's an incoherence in what's said and what's energetically there on the page. Again, why all these copy tips and tricks, they're great if you're holding the frequency. Amazing, nuance, use them. I'm learning about copy. I've never learned about it before. I just invested in like a $250 like mini course. I'm like, cool, maybe it's about time. But I know it's never going to outdo frequency. And I don't even know if it will make a difference. I haven't implemented any of it yet. So like, we'll see. But the point is, the frequency and the signature is everything. It's not what like the people are doing in relationship or health-wise, or our health is carried in our EMF, by the way. Wherever the trauma is where the tumor gets, or the cancer, or whatever. And, or the entrepreneurs, it's not what they're doing physically. They have to take the physical action, but that's about 20%. It's what their EMF is saying. Okay, so anyways, I'm just reiterating. So basically, the simplest way I can say this is our creator fields hand out scripts to people saying, choose me, like choose me, choose me, choose me. And that's the person that everyone chooses for whatever. Or they're handing out scripts of like, don't choose me, don't choose me, don't choose me. Not good enough, not good enough, not good enough, because the body is saying that, because that's what you're handing out. Or that like, I should be punished. I should be punished. I should be punished. I'm bad. I'm bad. I'm bad. I have a real life example with this entrepreneur I worked with, was in the middle of a lawsuit, hired me, whatever. Okay, tune in. What was going on? Why was he a match to this? He was punishing himself in his relationship, in his marriage, because he felt guilty about something. So now what happens is that punishment pattern appears, but it appears often in a different area of life. There's 8 areas of life: physical, mental, spiritual, financial, family, passion, and vocation. Okay. It'll appear in the area we're going to pay attention to, which is the one we care about the most. Because he was ignoring it in his relationship, it appeared in his business. Great. Now it's identified. So what did we do? We transmuted the guilt, shifted his behavior that were making him feel guilty. Therefore, he's not holding that pattern anymore. Had to heal some trauma from childhood. All of a sudden, the lawsuit was dropped. This is how powerful this stuff is. But again, you can't fake it and you can't run from it. If you're wanting to truly manifest your soul's desires, create your life that you want, these are where the soul lessons are. Same thing. Somebody else was making a shit ton of money and then all of a sudden the flow stopped. Why did it stop? Because he was using it to try and create self-worth. So past life regression, or not past life regression, a regression to childhood and that younger version. We use shamanic breathwork and then a mini activation as well. Healed that relationship with that younger version of him. And then the income started coming back. You cannot use these things to cover up these wounds and expect that it will last forever, or that it will the wounds won't be covered up. It always comes around. Okay. So these are reflections that our soul is like, hey, deal with this. This is out of balance. Hey, there's a trauma here that needs to be transmuted. The reflections, they're the greatest teachers. I recommend not running from them. So basically, this is why when we work with the body embodiment trauma healing, this is why I was noticing with myself. And then eventually when I worked with clients that when we shifted things, the trauma healing, all of a sudden the manifestations got so much easier. Now I have a greater understanding of this. Obviously, I've been doing this for years now with the EMF field and the scripts that are being handed out and like just more nuanced understanding. But when we start to manifest from the magnet, when we heal the traumas, it becomes a lot easier. And then we add in the activations and then it's like fucking next level. And then if we learn the soul lesson, which you always do in the breath work, if you're listening, because the message is in the trauma, then that's where we can get to what the soul actually wants versus what the ego wants. Okay. So again, soul sovereignty, and then from there, soul manifestation without trying to use the manifestation to cover up the wound, because that never works. It makes you feel shittier. And the lesson just comes back and it comes back bigger. So anyways, might as well just like use that portal as the opportunity to shift everything. So also, I think this is going to hit, I'm skipping some of this because it's really not important, but, and I'm already behind. So often people hold themselves back from the next level of wealth because they know on a soul level, it won't make them happy. And they'll make that wound amplified. Money is an amplifier. So they unconsciously know they'll be devastated when it doesn't solve their internal distress. It only amplifies it. Same thing with an acting role. When I really looked at and tuned into why I sabotaged a lot, it's because I knew that those roles weren't going to give me the feeling that I thought it would to cover up the wound, that like I was never good enough for my father and blah, blah, blah. So I sabotaged because I knew when I got that thing, I wouldn't actually get the fulfillment or the recognition. And so what needed to be healed, which I've now healed, thank God, is like the my relationship with my father and that wound of feeling like I was a fuck up or I disappointed him or whatever. And this is why, like, he doesn't know about a lot of my business success because I don't feel the need to tell him. I don't need that validation. It's irrelevant to me. He thinks what I'm doing is, I don't know, fucking crazy, like breath work, all the things. He's like, at his, he had like an appointment of, I don't know, he got elected for something or upgraded. I downgraded that. He had a really beautiful promotion. And like, I'm sitting there in front of all these people. They're like, Jill's a counselor. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm a counselor. I'm not a fucking counselor. I actually help people heal. I don't keep them dependent. And in the same trauma. Okay, so yeah, and this is where the quantum leaps happen. These are where the quantum leaps happen. That part of us that isn't in resonance literally dies. It goes through an ego death, a shamanic death. You can do this in a couple hours in a shamanic breathwork ceremony. Or you can take months to do it, like whatever. This is why I love these ceremonies, especially fucking in person, because you can move so much. I've had people grieve deaths. I've had people like literally leave abusive relationships. Many people, probably about 7 to date, like get the strength to be like, I'm leaving this relationship. I'm leaving this marriage. This is abusive. This is not in alignment. Starting new jobs, like fucking crazy shit. Anyways, this is why. So I want to offer you guys, invite you, if it feels in alignment for you, trust the soul pull. If it feels like a soul yes, trust that. Make the choice. The resources will come after the choice is made. If it feels like a no, trust that. I really want people who are in soul alignment. It's over $600 off until December 15th. Then it goes up to full price. We're also doing another bonus until December 15th, which I'll explain after. Honestly, for those who feel the call, this will be one of, if not the best investment. Like, I want to fucking come to my own retreat. It's not like any other retreat. I've been to so many retreats. A lot more discerning on which retreats I go to over the last 8 months specifically. And I've literally like, man, I've invested so much in myself, like probably at this point, $400,000 over the last however many years. There is no retreat like this. That's all I'll say. How do you heal trauma without getting re-traumatized? Okay, so if you're getting re-traumatized, babe, I don't know who the fuck you're working with, but don't work with that person is my advice. Therapist, I was in therapy for a decade, didn't help. Makes it worse. I can talk about this in the neuropathways and what it does. We don't have time today, but basically it ingrains it in the neuropathways. So hello, I'm Jill. Lovely to meet you. I am a trauma healer. It's one of the things I do. It's how I help people manifest. It's how I help people align to their soul path, soul pull. I mean, I use many modalities to use this. If it feels in alignment, I would love to see you at the retreat. I do have, yeah, you can DM me as well. We'll see what might be another fit. But if you're working with a trauma healer who is re-traumatizing you, I get it. I've seen it. I've had a lot of people come to me that was like, I went to this breathwork ceremony and now I'm like stuck in this trauma response. I myself have been stuck in trauma responses from trying to go to people who didn't know how to heal trauma. And I was stuck in these responses for days and my body was convulsing. It was not fucking cool. Years ago, same thing happened. And I was like suicidal for a bit because I went to a really deep trauma that they didn't know how to walk me out of. If somebody is not trained in trauma, they don't know how to walk you out of it. They should not be facilitating. Unfortunately, because this industry is not as regulated as it should be or at all, this is occurring and I get it and it's awful and I'm sorry that happened. Discernment with who you're working with. So yeah, we're at the retreat. I'm going to explain a little bit about it. I'll just like pull this up really quickly here. And then we'll talk shortly about sabotage patterns and then we'll go to the Q&A. Thank you guys for your patience. I hope that was really valuable for you. Okay, so It was called Soul Sovereignty Retreat. Now it's called Soul Manifestation. It is both. We're doing soul sovereignty work to come to soul manifestation. We're doing both. The first, this is my beautiful landing page. This is where it is at Half Moon Haven. So everything's included. It's on the water. We're doing a lot of the work in the yurt, super sacred land. The man who actually, the couple that owns the land, are amazing, 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 amazing. They're really good friends with one of my mentors, how I found it actually. And yeah, it's on two powerful ley lines. What this means is it creates a powerful energy vortex, which is going to amplify the healing, the manifestations. I'll talk a bit about some of the manifestations that happened last year, and some of the healing. We have a private chef who's amazing. She's going to do a cacao ceremony as well. She's also studying the shamanic arts. There's cold dip, cold plunge, hot tub, sauna, all the things. So some of the things we're going through, so this is not in order, is firstly, we're going to do core heal intentions, get everybody together. We'll do an activation the first night for manifestation, abundance, see what the soul really wants. We're going to do abundance teachings, manifestation teachings, and then the shamanic breath work, embodiment practices. One of the shame practices, which I'm going to turn this off for a second. One of the shame practices that I've not actually done with a group, but it changed my fucking life. It literally changed my life, with deep shame about being in my feminine, deep shame about money, deep shame about being like doing what I do, because what I do is like not accepted in my family. Like my mom's a little bit more on board now, saved her life. But the rest of my family, like just so much shame about what I did. Literally, I had so much pain in my lower abdomen and it transmuted that. I had a huge abundance cap, like bursted, a huge influx of like clients, people buying courses, like even that I didn't know after I cleared these. So fucking excited to do it. And actually, shame is one of the biggest things that holds people back in relationship and financially. And it's fun. This stuff can be fun. Like even the shamanic breath work, when we transmute the stuff, it's not like it. Some people, if there's such a bad rep about trauma healing, it doesn't need to be. Sometimes it's intense when you're like experiencing like sadness, but in that breath work, in that space, for those of you who have done it, you know, it's a sacred space. There's like a beauty to it. You're feeling deep levels of love and you're healing like deep fucking core wounds. So, yeah, hang on. I had my notes somewhere. I'm going to give everybody an intuitive read. I charge 4 figures for this, and the price is actually going up in December, or not December, January. These are so fucking powerful. In my, like, they're worth over 10 grand. I mean, people like that lawsuit dude, like crazy shit. If you can get clear on what your soul wants and like what's stopping you, the value of these is insane. I'm doing like individual reads for everybody. They're not going to be like 75 minutes long, but they'll be long enough that you have exactly, you know exactly what you need to shift, what you need to do. I'm going to give you tools where you're out of alignment. And like it's like, should I be in this partnership? Should I not? Like we can look into your soul and see if that is like the final partnership, if that person is a soulmate, if that person, I don't recommend just like leaving a partnership. It's on bad terms because you're learning lessons. Again, always leave on like the relationships at the best place, but just literally we can look into anything with these intuitive reads. I've been training really, really intensely. I didn't do these at my last retreat because I wasn't at the place that I felt like solid enough doing them. I mean, I've been channeling for a while, but not to like what I can do now. So cacao ceremony, as I said, with our chef, who's a shamanic healer. Activations, teachings on all the things manifestation that actually fucking work. Look at the testimonials. And yeah, tribe, like being around people who are actually doing the work, who actually have good intentions. It is so hard to find communities that don't rip you down. And I'm fucking stickler. I put energetic grids up about who can come into my vortexes. I am no joke about this. I'm radical mama bear with people. Like, we know it's an energy of celebration and collaboration. I do not put up with pettiness. I do not put up with ill intent. I do not put up with any of that shit. In fact, I've never really had issues with it because I've been stickler and mama bear about it. And people know if it ever happens, like, they're fucking out like a drop of a hat. It's a very safe space because of that. And that's like one thing I pride myself on. There's confidentiality. We have contracts. Like, there's your healing is protected in this space. And I can hold a lot energetically, meaning I can hold deep grief. I can hold rage. I can hold fucking all of it because I have done that work myself. Again, something that is unfortunately very rare in the healing industry. And so that is my invitation for you. We're just going to go over a few sabotage patterns, not all of them, because I want you guys to understand this. So our ego will keep us afraid of all of these things. Like, it doesn't want growth. Our ego doesn't want growth. Our soul wants growth. We're either growing or we're shrinking, not expanding. We're expanding or contracting. We want to go on the expansion route. I mean, that's the route. That's where I'm going. That's money is a way to expansion. Relationship is a way to expansion. Business, entrepreneurship, all of these things are only, don't get triggered, whatever. These things are only pathways for expansion. It's just whether we choose to expand or not expand. What's the lesson in all of them? Divine union is one of the greatest pathways to expansion. That's why there's so much distortion around it now. Like, I just like, well, maybe we'll talk about this at the retreat, but it's crazy. It's crazy. And I want to talk about money for 1 second. Like, money is, it's one of the greatest spiritual pathways when you understand the energetics of soul aligned money. And you start to clear all the fucking constructs and bullshit. There is a reason why the spiritual community is like, be poor, has been brainwashed, distortion, into be poor, don't be resourced, your receiving's bad. Like, all of this stuff, and even certain energetics of like relationship, which we're not going to get into right now, but that at the very core have been distorted in the spiritual community and have caused like a lot of drama and all of this stuff. I have seen it, I mean, for years. I didn't see the deeper levels of it until like probably last year and the distortion around it. But there is a reason for these things. And so I don't want you to like think money's bad if you're super spiritual. It's not. It's one of the highest pathways of soul evolution if you're doing it in a soul aligned way, and it's not dirty money, which means harming people in the shortest form. I talk about this in Surrendering into Abundance, which a lot of you are in. It's not open for right now. For those of you who are not in it, we'll let you know when it opens again. It's a resource to help us be grounded, be able to make moves, feel safe, feel provided for, have high quality. I mean, I have a $3,000 fucking frequency machine right beside me right now. I manifested this for free, but still, you know what I mean? I mean, I have $800 of oils from Egypt over there, like thousands of dollars of healing tools over there. We're bringing all the healing tools, all the things, vibes. It's going to be amazing. So anyways, money's not bad. If you have that brainwashing, hi, my name's Jill. I used to have it too. It's not serving you. Go listen to my free activation. Or come to the retreat, better yet. So fear of success. A lot of people stay in limbo. They don't take action, okay? The one thing I've realized working with 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs, either being mentored by them or working with them as clients, I've seen this thread they fucking take action. They're not worried, is this the right thing? Is this the wrong thing? They're like, okay, I'm going to make a choice, either yes or no. And I'm going to trust that and go full in. Because when I'm in the zone, when we're in the zone of limbo, in this gray area, it's a big energetic leak. And if they make the wrong choice, trust me, some of you know this. We had the same business coach at one point, a few of you, whether live or on the replay. And I don't, whatever, 20 grand, like, fuck, last year I invested 50 grand in like a fucking soul lessons. Okay. I learned so much though. I learned so much. I had to actually be there in order to see deeper deception in the spiritual community. But don't, like, one of the worst things we can do is be like, oh, I made this investment and it fucking sucked. Like, I've made a lot of investments that didn't pan out, but I learned so much from them. And I've made other investments that were fucking awesome. Like, these are learning lessons. And so if it feels, I don't want you to like be so scared and be like, oh, like, this doesn't feel good, but I'm going to invest anyway. If it doesn't have a soul pull, then it's a no. If it has a soul pull, but you're like, I'm worried about this and this and this, reach out, ask me. If you haven't worked with me before, if you have, and you have, I resonate with the fear of success. Absolutely. If you have questions or whatever, then I'm so happy to answer them. And so the fear of success is what keeps us in that limbo. Actually, I found myself, I'm like, oh my God, it's like I'll have to do like 2 things and it's like feels like the end of the world and they're simple tasks. And when you really tune and tap in, it's a fear of, oh my God, if I keep on this, like, one that I used to have in my last partnership was, I'm going to surpass my partner financially. I had that fear, and then I started sabotaging, and I totally would have. And like, yeah, I will. Anyways, whatever. He's on his own path. But the thing is, like, I watched myself not show up for my business. I watched myself like in so much fear of like, oh my God, how is this going to affect the relationship? This is so common with female entrepreneurs. And there's energetics that you can work around it, because man, in this day and age, men providing financially isn't what women fully need. Yes, it's great and whatever. But providing in other ways is actually more beneficial. And for the men here and on the replay, like, if you can provide emotional support and be her rock and like create a safe space, that is often, not always, often more valuable in this day and age than financial support. Especially because women, we have the upside of being able to be that really magnetic energy and can magnetize money if we know the right energetics, sometimes more easily than men. Anyways, or I'm going to surpass my family or whatever. These are very common things. And then we sabotage. Oh, my mom sacrificed her whole life, or my guardian, or whatever. And so I can't receive money easily doing what I love because they received it and doing what they hated. These are really common unconscious patterns. And so tune into these. And what does your soul want? Don't stay in the limbo, whether it's coming to my retreat or not coming to my retreat, or doing a course or not doing a course, or moving or not moving, whatever it is. Just choose a yes or a no, and don't stay in the gray area, because it will literally drain you and kill you. And I watched this happen to me. I've seen it happen to other people, and I've seen shit, the people who are really killing it. Like, I had to clear like shame about a bad financial choice a while ago in a call. And now I've helped people do the same. But and like this woman who is a different business coach who was fucking awesome. And she was like, yo, do you know how much money like I have invested in like the market, and like it like disappeared or this or whatever? And I'm like, oh yeah, like, it's, these things are sometimes part of the path. And this is not what I'm seeing for you. I'm not seeing you make bad investments. It's not what I'm saying. But I know some of you are on the call and you're like, I've made a shit ton of like investments that like really weren't the best. I get it. I've been there. Don't reminisce about it. And if you need a private session to clear that shit, well, DM me. We can figure something out. It's quite busy until that. It'll probably, I don't know. We can probably maybe do something in December. if not January. Okay. So, or just start choosing in your life. So too many options, keeping busy, and being productive are also sabotage patterns. Sorry, thinking you're being productive without intention or a lack of presence, sabotage pattern. That was me before. So many jobs, so unproductive, so not helping myself, not helping humanity, not helping fucking anybody. And I was the bitterest bitch ever. You would have not wanted to know me 10 years ago. Overwhelmed, so you can't focus. The false quit. So I'm gonna quit. Oh, if people don't sign up for this thing, then I'm just gonna quit. No, there's a lesson in that. If people aren't signing up, there's somebody on the replay who needs to hear this. I don't know who it is, but if people aren't signing up right away, or if a couple people sign up, or if a few people sign up, celebrate those people who signed up. They're signing up. When I launched Reiki 1 the first time, nobody fucking signed up. Nobody signed up. I think I launched it twice without any signups. And then all of a sudden I had 6 people who literally in one day filled that course. And I wasn't even planning to do it the first time I actually taught by myself. So what I'm saying is, like, maybe it's because you're not supposed to yet teach that. Maybe you need to learn to choose yourself. Choosing yourself is an ingredient for other people choosing you. Maybe it's you're not fully in integrity with teaching that yet. Maybe there's a pivot that needs to happen. I don't know. There's something there. Don't quit. These patterns of quitting. I'm just going to quit this job. I'm just going to quit this marriage. I'm going to quit this relationship. Learn the soul lesson, and then you can assess if it's time to end or not end. I talked about this before, my last relationship. Oh my God, for those of you who were at my retreat last year, Dustin even said, like, she just like wanted to like peace all the time. Yeah, I did. There were so many times I like tried ending that. When we finally ended it, my soul literally, we couldn't, because we had a contract. I mean, I could have fucked up that whole contract. We didn't know this. The lesson was learned. And then, man, I learned a lot of lessons with deep healings after that. But there were specific lessons and energetics and things I needed to see, things he needed to teach me, and I needed to teach him. We ended that relationship actually on really fucking good terms. We were at the best we'd ever been in that relationship. Therefore, I didn't need to take those soul lessons into my next relationship. And then beyond that, there was other things that I learned after that I'm like, holy shit, okay, and deep healing and whatever. But like, had I just been like, fuck this shit, I'm out, I would have had the exact same pattern repeat over and over and over again that had already repeated in different ways, shapes, and forms. You cannot fake the frequency. You have to shift the pattern. And so there's lessons in that. So the quitting, not valuing yourself, not valuing personal time. Again, the biggest thread of working with 7, 8-figure entrepreneurs is that they value themselves. They value their health, their time, all the things. Negative thinking like, I can't afford that. Okay, well, that's going to be a reality. Start thinking, if I had the money, where would it come? If I was good at computers, how would I think? How would I show up? Solution oriented. Beating self up, not taking responsibility. Oh, I did a whole podcast on this. Be the victor of your life. You created that pattern. You chose those soul lessons. You actually chose those traumas. And the people who gave you the most trauma love you the most on a soul level. They signed up for that. This is deep. I mean, this is like deeper soul stuff. But the people who hurt you the most love you the most on a soul level. The deepest betrayals. I'm not saying call that in and allow it in your life. That's not what I'm saying. I have fucking radical boundaries of the energetics I now allow into my life, but they love you the most. They were teaching you to honor yourself and to not be available for that, and to choose yourself and not let the traumas run your life. Okay, so those are some sabotage patterns. There's more. Last year, you can look at the testimonials in the videos. This one I don't have yet. This one's actually sending me voice memo. Someone manifested $100,000. Somebody manifested citizenship a year earlier than it was supposed to. Somebody manifested a whole new business, left an unaligned one. Somebody else got deep clarity on whether their relationship was in alignment or not. They were in limbo trying to make it work. They got clarity on whether it was soul aligned. Somebody else manifested a huge producer reaching out to work with her. Somebody manifested the money. I think I said this earlier, I'm not sure, literally in a night after she made the choice and more. So she got overflow. There you go, baby. Okay, so let me know if anybody has any questions. We'll send the email out. I was going to show you some of the testimonials. You guys can look yourself. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions about that, or we'll go back to the questions on the creator field. Oh, I don't know if I said this. When I channel, I don't remember what I say often. So you're getting a bonus until December 15th, Money Miracle Mindset. It is a course. I don't really talk about it a lot. It's literally what got me to 5K months, that mindset shift. And I don't promote it a lot because people usually jump into surrendering into abundance, but those mindset shifts are like, just going over it the other day and I'm like, shit, this is really good. So you're getting that as a bonus as well until, if you sign up before the 15th, which is when early bird closes, December 15th. Okay. Any questions about that? Or we can go back to the other things that people are struggling with. If anyone wants to come on too, I can work with you. What a gift for signing up. I know, you're welcome. Guys, the shamanic breathwork in person is worth the cost of the retreat alone. Like the shifts that have happened with people in that breathwork, it's worth the cost of the retreat alone. I'll just say that. And the intuitive reads too. In the new year, those are going to be 2222. So saved people decades of their life, hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're really powerful. Okay. Can you talk about holding deservingness? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to start channeling. I'm channeling right now. I'm going to do this without outing what I just heard. You need to look at where you're not showing the universe you deserve yourself. You are worthy. You are deserving. Where have you been abusing yourself and not feeling worthy? Whether this is like lifestyle, like high value things of I am worthy. And sometimes we don't want to do it. I didn't want to wake up butt fuck early this morning to do my Kundalini yoga and then to take the dog for a run. But you bet I felt fucking amazing after that. I started intermittent fasting, 12 hours on, 12 off. I don't like doing that sometimes, but it's a high value thing. It brings vitality to me. So like food, exercise, organic food, who are you spending your time with? Spiritual, energetic hygiene. Are you investing in yourself? And this doesn't just mean in like coming to my retreat, invest in yourself. I'm talking about, are you investing in yourself time-wise? Are you carving out time for you? Are you nurturing yourself? Maybe even having a dance practice, a pleasure practice. Are you doing these things? And then are you allowing people in your life who are like almost trauma bonding? Hang on. Who are treating you like not how you deserve to be treated? And are you treating yourself that way? Deservingness, the energetic of what you're talking about is the ingredients I just talked about. So basically, start treating your body, your vessel, and your energy as sacred as it is. Other people will mirror that. I'm curious, what do you want to feel deserving for? But these things are important. These are fundamental. Where have you been dishonoring your, I just keep hearing temple. So yourself, your body, what you're putting into your body, how you're choosing to show up in your life, and who you're letting in your life. There's somebody in your life, I don't know who it is. I'm not going to like zoom in right now. There's somebody in your life, at least one person, who's treating you in an abusive way. So by you allowing that still, I did an Instagram video this morning, if you guys want to go watch it, on not responding to abuse. Because the moment you're like, oh yeah, no, that it's, you're being like, universe, I'm accepting this behavior. Fuck that shit. No, you're not. Create a mirror, bounce back their projections. You're not sending them ill intent. You're bouncing back anything that they sent to you, which is a universal law. It's going to come back. So might as well not absorb it. Please don't absorb it. You do not deserve that. Bounce it back, because it's going to come back, and it's better it comes back the instant they send it. So they're like linking those two things. Last year was mind-blowing. Thank you. Yes, it was. I might cry when we go this year. It's like that place, it was really beautiful. Like, not like cry tears of gratitude for y'all. It was mind-blowing. It's very yeah. Thank you for your insights, Jill. You're welcome. I love your Insta stories. Yeah, implement that. It's like that fierce energy. It's so important. This took me years to learn. Man, I wish I learned this like so many years ago. And that was the ego death. For y'all want to know what ego death I just went through? Basically, not allowing any sort of like abuse or betrayal type energies like in my life, and not being like, oh, it's fine. Like, I had to track way back and be like, oh my God, when did this pattern start? And now it's been initiation after initiation. I mean, this morning was another one. Was I going to respond to that woman's abusive behavior towards me? Or was I going to be like, actually, I was happy to move my car, but now that you're like literally abusing me, I'm not doing this. You can throw your hissy fit as your 50-year-old self. She's very beautiful, very young 50, but I'm sure she was in her 50s. But like, I don't care. Like I don't respond to that, period. I'm not going to show the universe that I'm responding to abuse. I don't respond to abuse. I was happy to move, and now I'm not going to move my car. Sorry. Like, no. Okay, so let's go back. Somebody had a question. Ivory had a question about distraction. And then Diana holding on. Okay, do you guys want to, does anyone want to pop on? This is being recorded. So you can give me like you can give me like a not transparent version, or you can give me a transparent version. Happy to work with anybody. We have a little bit of time. So let me know if anyone wants to pop on, or you can just type in the chat, or I can go back to the questions. Awesome. Ivory, I want to come back to you too, because something's really strongly coming through. Well, but Diana's popping on. And you can pop on after if you want, but something's really strong coming through from what you said before. Okay. Diana. Beautiful. Hi. Oh, wait, I can't hear you. Hang on. Can you guys hear her?
Can you hear me?
There we go. Okay, perfect.
So for me, I know it's something that you and I worked on with your one-to-one. And I, since I last worked with you on one-to-one, I'm having power moments with abundance, with money. And I think for me, it's self-sabotage of having large amounts of abundance. And I'm being honest here, and I'm actually a little embarrassed to say this, but having large amounts of money and not knowing how to hold it, or how to, hold it. And then obviously, you know, I made a large investment into a particular someone, and there's a lot of still some remnants of that, you know, and I think there's like this fear of like, well, what if I'm going to make another bad investment? And I have shifted it into like the lesson, seeing the gift.
Got it. So Got it. Perfect. Thank you. So firstly, there's a few pieces here. Congrats on this power abundance. Anchor those feelings in when it happens. Awesome. Thank you, universe. Thank you, vessel. Thank you. Thank yourself. Cheerlead yourself. You need to become your biggest fucking cheerleader. It's no joke. Like, talk to yourself either in your mind's eye or like, I don't fucking know. I do in my apartment. Crazy shit, guys. When you're your biggest cheerleader, other people will start mirroring that. So this was one thing I really struggled with because there's like a little bit of a confidence issue here because you're really gifted at what you do and you know that, and you have really pure intentions and you know that. And especially with the last experience with said person, there was there was an energetic of taking advantage of when you had that big amount of money that was in your account, right? It's like you've linked, oh my God, when I have a lot of money, I get taken advantage of. But you don't anymore because now you have discernment. Then you didn't have discernment. Now you have discernment. I get it. I've been there. I've been there financially. I've been there energetically. I've been there with people using me for left, right, and center or whatever. Oh, just come stay at my place. No problem. Like it just so much manipulation. I fucking get it. It sucks. You see it now. So that's not going to happen because you can identify it. You are teaching yourself to trust yourself, which is beautiful. So I want you to write down, to anchor this in, write down every single night, take a few minutes and write down, I can trust myself because I proved this to myself today because I fed myself. Therefore, I took care of myself. I had my own back. Where did you have your own back? Where can you trust yourself? I trusted myself with my client today and I got X testimonial sent, or she had this experience after, or this big shift. I keep seeing all your fucking amazing things. And I'm like, yes, vibes, keep going. Awesome. You have evidence now. Go back and look at that evidence. And then just literal micro moments of, oh, I trusted myself because, you know, like I remembered my keys for my apartment. These things start to anchor them in. You're building that neural pathway and you're suffocating the old one. Okay. The big shift was happening, and the remnants is like you proving to yourself and anchoring the rest in your field. Secondly, I want you to direct where the money is going before it comes in the account. This is one of the big things, that money is a consciousness, it's a being. One of the big things is that people like, and I get it, been there. Like sometimes I find myself, I'm like trying to call in this month this much. And then it's like, where the fuck is that money gonna go? Oh, right, I gotta allocate it before I call it in. Duh, forgot. And then all of a sudden it's like fucking there. You're like, what the heck? This is crazy magic. But it's not magic, it's science. So you, again, everybody on this, and it's not that you're better than, but there is a nuance that I've more recently learned. When we are like on this path of soul evolution and like higher conscious beings, which literally just means we've had more lifetimes, we've had more lessons, that you can measure this with intuition. There are more initiations, there are more lessons. So somebody who like isn't necessarily on that path, they might have a few of the ingredients and they're like, you're like, what the fuck? Why are they getting all this stuff? Blah, blah, blah. But it's because they have chosen a different soul lesson sometimes. They don't necessarily know what they did. They know parts of what they did, but they didn't get all the ingredients. And so every level, there's going to be more nuance to learn about certain things. This goes for money. This goes for relationship. This goes for any area of your life. Like, it's like, there's more nuances and you won't be able to up level until you like get that key code and that lesson. That lesson could be, and we can look into this, but that lesson could be in a different area of your life. Value, I just keep hearing value for you, value. What area of those 8 areas that I said very briefly are you not valuing yourself fully? Money is also a product of how much we value ourselves. And so delegate, literally write out, okay, this is where the money is going to go when it comes in. I was talking about this on a client call like earlier this week of like, some people do it by month. I actually don't do it by month. I do it by, this is what I desired. This is an investment I want to make. It's going to be this amount, this amount, this amount, blah, 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 blah. Right. Okay. So therefore I have to call in this amount, and it doesn't have to be in the month. I did do a month value for fun, actually, was it October? It was October. I'm like, I don't know, it's gonna happen. And it fucking happened. And I was like, cool, that was fun. But it's because I kind of had to get my belief back on board and like out of this rut, because I had been like in a deep like healing, and I was like, hey, let's fucking go again. Like, here we are, we're back, we're rebirthed, we're more discerning, we're more powerful. We've learned a lot. And so I'm like, let's just like test my manifestation abilities. And I literally got like the fucking exact amount. It was crazy. But you can do it that way for fun. You don't need to. Mind you, I already knew where those funnels were going. And so that is like super, super important, because when it's already delegated, you're going to feel safer, because you're not going to be like, Susie over here is going to try and like manipulate me into like said situation, which we will unname. And so you're going to be like, okay, well, that's not going to happen, because I've already delegated the money into things that feel in soul alignment. And I'm trusting my soul guidance when it's a yes. And I'm trusting my soul guidance when it's a no. You're building self-trust. Another great tool for y'all for building self-trust, game changer, is to do 22 days of something every single day, either eliminating something. I'm doing this right now. I've been doing this for the past few months. I've switched up. It's fucking great and awesome. I've given to clients. It builds a level of self-trust that is so powerful and untangible, not untangible, you can't speak it, you feel it. You know, those people, you're just like, I trust them, which is going to translate into people trusting you because you trust you and you're in integrity. Also want you to write down, like, for your clients, like why you are fucking in full integrity and in a lot more integrity than a lot of people in your industry. I want you to write down an anchor to that. So yeah, create those energy buckets before you call it in. And then I want you to save 5% and not touch it. Literally pull it out in cash and say, yo, universe, this is me showing I pay me first. I don't know if you have a LLC or if you're a sole proprietor. I have a incorporation. It's your version of LLC. So I move it from that because I wasn't paying myself for a long time. I was like literally only moving money for bills. And so I was paying everybody else on my team before me and all the things, mentor, investor, like client, not clients, what the fuck am I saying? Teachers, courses, like, and so I'm like, God damn, but like the human self was like, yo, Jill, you're literally like investing in the business and you're investing in like your growth, but you're not investing in your human self. And so it caused some kinks in my abundance hose. So I had to work through some worthiness and be like, okay, so now I moved 10%. I worked up to that. But I moved 10% out, and I literally take it out and I hold it in cash. And I'm like, this is me showing the universe. And once it starts to build, man, you're like, yo, I'm doing fucking good, that I am putting myself first. And then you can allocate that to something else later. There's these things called incidentals. And what they are 10, it's the universe trying to show us we can invest our money more wisely. So this is when we start to expand, and there'll be like it's about 10%. It'll be like a flat tire, or it'll be an unexpected bill, or it'll be like this literally happened to me the other day. It was like a database. So I didn't do this month yet. I'm like, I'll do it at the end of the month. But then I paid all these bills and I was like, fuck, I'm supposed to do it before I pay the bills. God damn it. And so I had another incidental and I was like, oh, okay, I will not wait next time till after. It was like a database that I don't use that was on my credit card from my old team. And anyways, they like won't refund my money even though I don't use it. So have that database for a year again, which I don't use. Oops, just like let a few $100s go, but it's fine. We're all good. So when we don't do this, like when we do this, those incidentals disappear, those unexpected charges, or like, you know, vet bill, dog sick, now is a $500 vet bill, whatever. Like I've seen it all. Fucking like lost my condo key, had to get a new like I literally just saw it all, like, and I'm like, what is going on? Just like weird things. And so these are incidental. I didn't understand what they are anymore, so now I do. You're welcome. Learn from my lessons. So start pulling out 5% of everything and pull it out into cash. Eventually you'll work up to 8 and then 10 or 11. These happen with the growth. This is going to show the universe you're putting yourself first. And it's also going to show you, like, it's going to help you expand, and any unexpected charges, like, literally just disappear. Yeah, that was a lot. I hope that was valuable. I gave you a lot of like things to implement. Start with whichever one feels like the best. Or just do all of them, because like I know you're a badass. So yeah, and really look at that situation to anchor into why you're really in integrity in an industry that maybe some people aren't. You know, don't like compare yourself to people, but just be like, this is why I'm in integrity. This is who I am. This is my intention. This is what I've trained in, what I continue to train in. And like, know that like people are like privileged to work with you because of that, because we both know what's out there in that industry. So look at that as that opportunity. And it was happening at that amount. So it didn't have to happen when you have like 3 million in the bank and that happened. Because I know people that happened when it was 3 million or 10 million or whatever. Like, you learned the soul lesson at an amount that, like, yeah, it feels shitty right now, but like with where you're going, you're going to be like, well, thank God I like learned that back then, you know? Any other questions? Anything to say? Got it.
No, this conversation is actually expanding me, especially about saving the 5%, because I've always heard the 10%, always stock away 10% or tithe 10%. But just hearing now going to 5, it actually is stretching me. I mean, not stretching me, but it feels really good to start doing that. So I like that. Thank you.
And so you're welcome. So when you start with the 5, yeah, it's easier to start with 5, because sometimes it's like a heart attack when you start with 10. Especially if there's a lot like going in and out, like with expenses. Because as your business expands, of course, expenses expand and so forth. Profit margins are also a thing that, you know, had a lesson on that too. Anyways, another conversation, another lesson I'll share another time. But don't do anything with that money. That money isn't for an emergency. This money is literally, it's getting rid of those incidentals. So it's being saved. It's not even saved. It's being collaborated. You'll do something with the money eventually, something fun for you. But it's showing the universe, I am paying myself first in cash. You have physical cash to be like, oh, I'm touching this money, tangible. Sit with it. Transmute that feeling of being uncomfortable sitting with a lot of money. Like, put it on a fucking bed. I've done this. And you lie in it and you're like, oh my God. And then you start to create a beautiful relationship with it. It is a being. It likes to be loved. One of you, I don't know if you're on here. I said I would record a podcast on, like, you're not on here, but the replay, I think you signed up. But anyways, I'm going to record this podcast of why some people who don't have good intentions make a lot of money. Again, in Serenity into Abundance, which like there's a module that talks about dirty money and making money by harming other people. That's not the vibe. There's karmic lessons to that. Do not recommend it. But money doesn't respond to morals. Money responds to our relationship with it. If we appreciate it, it's going to appreciate us. It's mirroring our relationship with it. If we're afraid of it, we're the magnet that's like, don't come near. Or if we're afraid of having it because we think something bad's going to happen, someone's going to take advantage of us. Our partner is going to be angry, or they're going to feel emasculated, or like whatever it is. Our family is going to be like, I worked so hard and whatever, and they're going to have their own, like, we can't take responsibility for other people's feelings. Firstly, there's workarounds to all of these, but if we're like energetically repelling it, it is literally energetically getting repelled. So use it to create that as well. But like, yeah, it is, that money is like untouchable money. Like it's not the vibe of, oh, how can, like, it's untouchable. Like you don't touch it. So if something happens, it's how can I make, well, we're getting rid of incidents, so cancel, clear, delete that. So it's like, I want to make this investment. Okay, so how can I make more money? How can I call in more money? How can I use my gifts, my skills of service to call in more money in a place that feels reciprocal? Maybe it's doing an online course. I don't know. Something, it could be something that's active with your clients, or it can be something that's like on repeat where you can sell for eternity. I don't know. All I know, like, you're going to have to figure out what feels good for you. I'm hearing something about maybe doing something that you can resell. If that feels good to you, or teaching, or I don't know. Anyways, beside the point. The point is, it's the vibe of how can I, if I had the money, where would it be? But that money isn't that money. How could I call it in? How can I use my gifts? These are solution-oriented questions. If we ask the right questions, we can have whatever we want in life. Most people are asking unproductive questions. And figure out where you're not valuing yourself and shift that.
Okay. You're giving me a lot of things. There's a book, T. Harv Eker, The Makings or the Millionaire Mind something. He talks about like asking the right questions. So I need to go read that book. That book keeps coming up right now in my field. So I need to go read it. So thank you.
I think somebody told me about that book. Might have been
you. Someone, it's coming up.
No,
so I mean,
I think I know who it was actually. You might have told me. I don't know. Anyways, yes, definitely read that book. Follow that. That's your intuition. Okay, awesome. Ivory, did you have a question? You wrote something and then something was coming through, but if you want to pop on, or I can just say I need to tune back. Oh, I remember. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I was just saying that something's stopping me or distracting me.
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, the time. It's like, oh,
okay.
anything.
So I know exactly what it is. It's a few things. One thing we're not going to talk about right now, and I'm going to clear it for you in data. And don't be afraid. It's all good. The reason this is happening, I really want you to get this. You're so fucking powerful. Like, you're literally a force to be reckoned with. When you're in alignment and when you're in your full power, nothing can stop you. We get tracked on this crystalline grid, okay? Our souls literally get tracked. You're also going to learn how to make yourself invisible on this to anything that has ill intent, all the things. These are initiations. I get it. It's really uncomfortable. You're like, what is this dense energy going on? Why are these like things? Why the distraction of the brain and all of this stuff? It's trying to stop you. Between now and January, when you do Reiki 3 and data, like you're also going to learn discernment, but what I want you to do is to claim your power back. You already have some tools of this that I've given you, but literally the energy of like, don't fuck with me. I am not available for this. I'm not talking about humans. I'm talking about etheric energies, but they might work through humans. To literally be like, nope, I'm stronger than this. Anchoring this in your creator field. I already know exactly what's going on. It's going to be shifted, but I want you to realize how powerful you are before all that stuff gets cleared and before you get some really powerful tools. If you didn't have a big mission here, if you were weak, if you were not a threat, none of this would happen. So people be like, oh, she's doesn't on the grid. They're like, not an issue. It's because you're triggering the grid. You're triggering the grid. And so, and I get it. I get it. You know, some of what I went through last year and had to like crawl myself out of, and some of it you don't, and I'll share some more. And anyways, the point is, you're literally like, they're trying to stop you because you're a threat and you're powerful. Use that as a compliment to own your fucking power. Not from me, from the attacks. Like, I'm not just like buttering you up. You know, I say things as they are. Like, I fucking love you. But I want you to realize how powerful you are. You have a big mission here. And you're stepping into it. And then I see like you backing off a bit because it's like, and it's fine. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But that is why this is happening. And so you got to choose you. You got to choose your power. You got to choose to be like, fuck this shit. No. The gifts you have for a reason. Your soul chose those. You're here to fuck shit up, like in the best way possible. Seriously. You know your power, and people around you, like even at the retreat last year, they're like, holy shit, she's powerful. And I'm like, I know. And you know. And when you start to shine brighter, that's when it triggers the field even more. You're going to learn again how to protect against this, but just know this is happening, because your soul chose it to happen for you to be like, nope. I'm quickly going to just share this one nugget. When I was in Egypt last year, and man, was I connecting a lot of dots. And whoa, I did not have a mentor. I mean, like I kind of did, but he was like one of the people I was connecting dots about. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I got tricked into working with people. I was talking with my mentor in Vancouver about this the other night, and she's like, yeah, I know. She's like, saw it happen. She was one of the people I got tricked into working with because she knew what the fuck was up. And she's like, I see this happen all the time. You have to just like dissolve the webs. And I didn't have anybody. I was in this situation to not have anybody. There was a night I almost died. I literally flatlined. And the reason I almost died was, anyways, beside the point. I'll record a podcast eventually on it. I had to pull myself out of something so fucking intense, and I was literally pulling daggers energetically out of my back. Like I think there was like 22 daggers, and then some stuff out of my womb, which I later found like over 30 hooks in my womb. I didn't even know what these were. I'm just like, there's a hook in my womb. And the friend I said that to thought I was fucking crazy. I was not crazy. They were. And so this was all part of what my soul chose. Was it easy? No. Did it suck? Yes. And because of this, it allowed me to uncover so much stuff that one of you was in Hawaii with me. I did a podcast on that because of learning and training and seeing, like mastering defense against the DFs. Oh my God. There was another initiation of like literally protecting the space and people and myself and like tracking things that I would not have been able to do. That was all training for that situation. And that situation was training for God knows whatever my soul chose. I don't know. But what I do know is that when we're a target, literally was talking to my teacher. I had a private session with him last night for training. Like I was talking to him about this, and he's like, yeah, because you're in training, you had to learn on that stuff. And B, they don't fuck with people that aren't threats. Like, so take it as a compliment, because if you were like Joe Blow, who's just like, I don't know, like is like a bank teller, and that's perfectly fine, but doesn't have a big mission on this planet that we write before we come here, then that person wouldn't have to deal with it. And it can be frustrating because it's like, why are other people not dealing with this? But people who have created mastery in certain things, they did go through these initiations in their own way. And unfortunately, fortunately, your soul chose a big mission here. Fortunately. So you're literally in training, and so it's like both ways, that like your soul chose also to go through this training, but it's up to you whether you're going to or not. And you keep showing up. I mean, I see you sometimes just be like, fuck this shit. I get it. I've been there. I'm like, what did my soul sign up for? Oh, if you guys knew some of the things I've had to go through, but like it's and because we choose to go through these things, like I have been able to learn things so that other people don't have to go through that level of deception that I went through, to illuminate this for the people who are ready to hear. And man, I tell you, so many people aren't ready to hear and are like, I just actually want to. Anyways, we'll talk more about this in data, but it's that's fine. I tried to save people. I can't fucking save anybody. I'm only here to illuminate things and teach people tools who are ready to learn, and who don't want to stay like with all of that, those attacks. Like, get the tools, you start to master them, go through some initiations, you master them more, and eventually they just leave you alone. Unraveling what my mission, I need to hear this. You brought me clarity in these situations. Amazing. Thank you, Mama. You're welcome, Mama. I'm still unraveling what the mission is for my own self. That's fine. Your soul knows. As soon as you start clearing it's literally like blindfolds come off. It's like energetic blindfolds that come off when you start clearing, transmuting the deeper traumas. What I thought I wanted when I started getting really good at, like, when I started manifesting, is like literally not what I want anymore. Like, I wanted to be a famous actor and this and that. And like, again, my soul put me, I was a body double on Sabrina, the Chilling Adventures. There's a lot of DFs, for those of you who don't know, dark forces. Again, not really like the topic of the conversation, but it's coming up a bit on this call. In that, the rituals and all the things, I needed to see that close up and see that the actors are literally like, they invited me to rituals. I didn't go. I didn't know what they were. I thought they were like joking and crazy, and they were not. This stuff is very real. And so I don't want to be an actor anymore. Maybe after like the transition that's going to happen in the next couple of years, when like things really shift, but things are going to get worse before they get better. Anyways, beside the point. Maybe after that, when like the whole industry isn't like putting like spells on people that are like dark arts, like, no thank you, don't want to be a pawn for that, not the vibe. And I will tell you, when I worked on that set and I worked with actors to clear like dense energies, I got really like, I didn't know what was going on, but I got sick. And so what was going on was the dense energies and the things that were invoked on that set and the rituals that were not, they were real, were literally like making my soul couldn't handle it. Some people, souls can handle it because they have a lower level of consciousness coming into this planet, and they just honestly like have so much trauma that they don't want to heal, that they've like disassociated from their body, but it couldn't. But anyways, the point is, you don't need to know. Essentially, our higher self knows everything. So long as we follow the soul path, soul pull, and so long as we clear the programming and transmute the traumas and listen. This is why I'm like so deep in the listening, because what I got so good at manifesting, that what I started to realize was, okay, there's a discernment between what my soul wants and what the brainwashing is. And if I'm not clear on that if this is like what somebody told me I should want, but my soul doesn't want, the soul always knows best. And so now I'm really in a stage of listening to my soul and my higher self. And yes, I'll make sure my human self also like gets what like my human self desires, but not at the cost of my soul. So you don't necessarily need to know right now. It will become more clear as the blindfolds come off, as the trauma is cleared. And the biggest thing too, I can say, is discernment. Discernment, discernment, discernment. Even in the energy healing space, discernment, guys, discernment, discernment, discernment. And Ivory, don't be hard on yourself. Like seriously, you, even where you are right now from the day I met you, and I'm sure from like your childhood days, because we tap kind of into some of that, holy fuck, like holy fuck what you've created in your life. Can you please just acknowledge yourself? Can we all just, some of you guys know her, some of you don't. Snaps for Ivory. This girl's fucking badass. Like she runs her own business. She has another job. Like she is so tapped into the quantum, to communicating with like animals, trees, like all the fucking things. She's one of the most powerful. She doesn't do healing as a trade, but she's a motherfucking powerful healer. And she's super psychic. And she got none of this handed to her. So I love you. My homework for you, if I can give you some homework, is every single day spend 5 minutes before bed and just write out. I want you to do like the cheer. I'm gonna like cheer myself on list. Standing up. Yeah. Like I want you to write down the things that you did that day and things you've achieved in your life. High moments, high moments, high moments. Anchor this, see this. Because it's so easy to just bypass this and not celebrate. Celebration creates integration. That was another really big lesson for me. And that's when it gets to the point of like, why am I even doing this? It's because we're not celebrating the wins. When we celebrate the wins and when we surround ourselves with people, which community, guys, when we surround ourselves with people who really have the purest intentions, and I know it can be hard because I know the patterns, especially with women sometimes, when it's like jealousy and this and that and cattiness, and like none of that shit exists in my life anymore. And you guys know with the containers I hold, like for those of you who were at the retreat last year, none of that shit would have ever been there. I'm not available for it. And it doesn't exist in my life anymore. I literally do not respond to that. I'm like, if a friend's trying to be dramatic or like talk shit about somebody else, I'm not available for it. And it's pissed some people off. Fine, that's fine. I don't want to talk shit about other people. I don't live in that energy. I'm not available for that energy. And I'm not available to surround myself with people who are trying to pull me down because they got jealous that I finally stood in my power and my truth. I know who I am. I know my intention. I know my mission to the extent that's been revealed. And the people who know my intention and feel my intention, they stay in my world and they fucking love me. And I love them. And I don't sugarcoat things. And they love that about me. And the people who have their own projections about me, that's fine. And I send them love with also the mirror of reflection. And they don't need to be in my world. And I had to, that was one of the hardest things. Even last year, I lacked that. You've seen me through this journey. A couple of you have. So yeah, like who are you surrounding yourself with? You want to be on a dope call too. Come to the next Surrendering into Abundance live call. It's in a few weeks. It's a vibe. You missed the last one. So that's why I'm calling her out. It's fine. You weren't meant to be there. It's all good. I'm just saying it's an awesome group of people. We'll celebrate. We'll start with celebrations. Okay. And I unpause the Facebook group if you guys want to, for those of you who are in it, connect in there. Okay, anybody else? Is that helpful? Do you have any other questions? Is that clear? One other tool, babe. Every single morning and every night, connect to the gold light from source, the pink light from the earth, create this pillar of light. And I want you to feel a white light shooting up from your head, clearing any distortions, clearing any fences that somebody tried to put on you. By the way, a lot of people teaching manifestation are putting cages on people, consciously or unconsciously. Again, not really the conversation for it, but just literally shoot and burn those cages. You'll learn how to, you'll learn how to clear this like more intensively in data, but just feel that burning any cages. Any ill intent somebody sends you can also put this on you. I want you to burn it every single morning. Because you're so powerful, people don't like to see you in your power. Cancel, rewind that. I like to see you in your power. I fucking love your power. Everybody here on this call right now loves to see you in your power. Even those who don't, like Danielle, it doesn't even know you yet. And she's literally sending you love, like fucking vibes. There are people that you trigger with your light, and not only your light, but your power, the power behind the light. This is a big reason you're a really big target, is because you don't just have light, you have massive power. You've earned that with your past lives. You've earned that with this life, with the initiations. You've earned that. People don't like that you've earned that because they don't know where you came from. They don't know what you've gone through. They don't know your past lives. You do. I do to some extent. And I honor that. So because of that, certain people are going to send you unconscious ill intent. This is going to fuck with you. You're going to learn how to protect against it, but use that tool for now. And know they're doing it because they wish they could be you. You know, when you bring in all like the vibes, like on the weekends with your dancing and everyone's like, what the fuck? How is she filling the house? Like, of course they want to be you. You walk into a room, I'm sure people are like, oh my God, and they're jealous and they probably fucking glare because they want to be you. Put up a mirror, one more tool. Not just, I'm going to put up, you're going to like put up a mirror and it's like, no, any ill intent is going right back to you, going back to you, going back to you, going back to you. And they'll feel it. You're not sending them ill intent. We don't do that here. You're sending any ill intent back. Yeah, I love you so much. Keep shining. Seriously. Yes, only you in the world, queen. She's calling you a queen. I don't understand the verbiage. I'm dyslexic. Own your queen. Okay, anybody else? We're over time, but it's all good. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Want a quick intuitive read, coaching on manifestation? Hi, babe, Kathy. Is that a me? A me, please? Hi.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Okay. I don't know. I'm kind of just, what am I doing? I think what I'm feeling right now is a little bit of overwhelm from the 3D.
Yeah.
And like aware of what I know what I can do. And I've got some really, and I've done some good work in terms of like releasing. I've released some work and things that I believe have just serve their purpose and feel complete, and bigger things are coming in, which is like beautiful. But I'm also like, I was supposed to create space.
Okay.
And I know that I have a really high capacity to do that, but I'm also I'm also just feeling slightly depleted, while also like, okay, how what's the sweet spot around like how much to push right now, and how much to flow. You know what I mean? I think you know what I mean. yeah. And
100%.
And so I'm just sort of in this space of like, and I'm like on my way to WISP and like creating the 5 days of magic to happen. But I'm like, okay, what?
We'll come back to that. I want to ask a question, but firstly, like what's coming through? There's something you're avoiding. Don't know what it is. You can tune in. There's something you're avoiding by filling this space. So it's every time it's like, oh, I'm released, but then it's like, I commit to all these other things. There's something you're avoiding. That's exactly what you need to go into to look at. Okay. Secondly, I want to know what your main intention is. You already know you're fucking like awesome at manifesting. So like, this is something deeper. Hang on. More structure is actually going to serve you to flow more. More structure in your life is going to serve you to flow more. If you write down all the things you get to do, then I want you to write like why you're doing each one. Why is it important? There's things that you're doing that aren't fucking important. Doing them to fill space. To not deal with something, whether it's an emotion or there's something that needs to be deeply transmuted. So in order to create the space to do that, write down the things all the things you're doing, like the whole list, just brain dump. And then fill each thing.
With the why.
Okay. And then why are you doing it? And then things you still need to do. Using this from a past coach. Thank you, Andrea. You're going to write WAP or DOP. I'm going to text you later. I'm not to right, because after I get this call, I need to ground. But the things that give you joy, you can text me tomorrow and be like, what do those mean? And I'll tell you, because there's like a co-ed situation on this call, especially the replay too. So let's just WAP or DOP. WAP is like things you're like excited about. DOP is, okay, what can I delegate now? Can I delegate this to the kiddos and they get a movie night or something? If they do, help me with this. Like, what can you delegate? What can you delegate to your EA? I think you have an EA still, unless that's in transition. But to your assistant, what can you delegate to? What can you delegate to create that space? There's an energetic. Can I be fully honest with you?
Yeah.
There's an energetic of you. Because you're not taking this space that your soul is like, I need this. I need to process whatever. I need to transmute. There's an energetic of you not choosing you not honoring you more so. You're not fully honoring you. So that's going to be by default reflected in one area of your life. The one you care about the most. One of those 8 areas. Don't shoot the messenger. This is how it works. I'm just reading the field.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So you create that space, do this process, create that space, honor yourself. Whatever area is being reflected in the 3D reality of you not honoring you is going to shift. But you can't shift that until you start honoring you. And the way you're going to show the universe that your soul, I'm like literally tuned into your soul right now. The way that you're going to show the universe that your soul is asking, so you can't walk around this. You can't, you can try. It's just gonna get bigger. I promise you, I love you. Don't shoot the messenger. Is for you to create that space, honor yourself, honor your emotions, honor what you need from within. No outsourcing. No, like for that time, no outsourcing. What I mean by that is I want you to fully honor your emotions. And everything's going to shift. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks,
Left. We've been going for almost 3 hours. Safe
Love
drive.
you.
Love you. Okay. Any other last questions before I close this vortex? Yes, no, maybe so. Danielle, you're the only one still left on that hasn't. So if you have a question, awesome. If not, I'm going to close this. Okay. Okay, I love you guys so much. I will leave for now. No worries. Thank you for coming. That was a joy to have you. You're welcome. Yeah, thank you guys for coming, for your time, your most valuable resource, your time. Thank you for trusting me. So nice meeting. Likewise. I have something coming for you. It's recorded. Anyways, we'll leave it there. So stay tuned. It'll be this week. Okay, so yeah, would love to, for anybody who feels the call, would love to have you at the retreat. Like I said, early bird ends on the 15th, and Money Miracle Mindset you get as well until the 15th as a bonus. And it's going to be a vibe. And I'll see the rest of you in certain containers or in the future or on my podcast or Instagram or whatever, all the things. Check my Instagram stories. I'm starting to do more like value adds and like reading fields. And if you have questions about manifestation, like DM me. I love answering these when I can in Insta stories, and they're all confidential. So your name's like not named, but I secretly tag you so that you see the first one. So your question gets answered. And yeah, we're being more consistent with the podcast. So that is a vibe. And I love you guys. Okay. Big hugs. Blessings.